Hey there, this is Dr. Peter Kloponis coming to you again from Integrity Counseling Services in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. And today I want to talk about passion. What is a passion and how do you find it? Uh, People often talk about, finding those things that you're passionate about, really diving into that, immersing your life into that, really living out your passions. But what is that? What is a passion? Well, a passion is simply something that is life-giving for you, something that brings you joy, brings you happiness, brings meaning to your life, brings purpose to your life. That is what a passion is, and we all have passions. We all have them. For some people, it's their career. They love what they do for a living, and that's what energizes them. I can say that's true about my career. I love psychology, I love counseling, I love our Catholic faith, and I love combining them. In fact, all of our therapists here and our spiritual director here at Integrity Counseling Services are passionate about that. Uh, for some people, their passion may not be in their career, it may be in a hobby or an avocation. Some people are passionate about sports, passionate about football, baseball, golf. Some people are passionate about gardening and cooking. I have a teenage son who's passionate about movies, loves learning all about different movies that are out there. So, again, a passion is something that is very life giving for you and brings you joy. I love someone. I forget who it was. Someone once defined passion as something you could talk about all day long and never get tired of. So other people may get tired of hearing you talk about it, but you never get tired of talking about it. So, and we all need to have this. This is the spice of life. This is what makes life interesting. If we didn't have passions, our lives would be very boring. Be very boring and very depressing. Very depressing. I've known many people who have gone through very difficult times during life, but because they had certain passions that could kind of be like a little escape from all the struggles and the pain, it helped them get through it. So, and as I said, anything can be a passion. It can be your career. Now, not all passions can be turned into careers. For example, if you have a passion for music and you want to be a famous rock star, well, not that I would want to discourage you from that, but the chances of that probably are not too great. So some passions are best left as a hobby. So you want to think about that, where those passions are going to be and where they can best be fulfilled in that. So for some people, passions can be in relationships. I know people who are passionate about their families, passionate about their kids, passionate about their friendships. As I said, many things. Some people are passionate about their pets or about animals and so forth. But the key here is having that passion and being able to bring it into your life and live it out. That's what's important. That's what makes life fun, makes life interesting. Really gives you something to look forward to when you have that. Now, people often wonder, well, how do I find out what my passions are? I'm really not too sure what I may be passionate about. So, well, the way you understand and find your passion starts with curiosity. Think about all those things that you are curious about. All right? And it doesn't have to be a burning curiosity, it could be just a mild one. But what are those things in your life that you are curious about? Start looking into that. All right? Because wherever your curiosity is, chances are there's where an interest lies. And as you work on exploring those interests, you'll start to notice that some interests are stronger than others. And some interests really make you happy when you start to delve into them. And this is where you can discover where the passion is. That's where a passion can grow. And there's so many ways that you can experience it. For some people, they have one passion and one passion only, and they totally dive into that. I think, for example, of the famous baseball player and coach Yogi Berra. He loved baseball. He was passionate about baseball. And it's what gave him life. In fact, I think he lived well into his 90s and he was very active in the game up until then. Coaching, commentating, all of that. So for some people, one passion is enough, and that gives them their soul joy in life. For other people, you could have many passions, many different interests, many different things that you love, and that's great too. There's sort of a diversification in there, so that you never have to think about just one thing or worry about just one thing. You've got many things that can bring you joy and happiness in life. So, and with all the passions, I hope that at least one of them are your relationships with other people, and your relationship with God, because that's where you're going to find, I think, a lot of the joy and the meaning and the purpose in your life. So, but either way, think about the passions in your life. If you find your life is boring or doesn't have meaning, think about passions. Where do your passions lie? How can you feed them? In a healthy way. Some passions may not be too healthy. If your passion is drinking hard liquor or drugs, then that's not a good one to have. You may want to avoid that. But healthy passions, work on looking into them, discovering them, feeding them in healthy ways, and that's going to help lead you to a healthier, happier, and more interesting life. For more information on Integrity Counseling Services and all that we offer, please go to our website, integritycounselingpa.com. And until next time, God bless.